What is a movie you find terrible but critics seem to love? It. People conflating movies that are popular with movies critics love. Girl on the third floor. I don't understand how this giant piece of sheet has 81% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not me but my dad. He absolutely hates Snowpiercer, but it's got fantastic ratings and a great director. Even after rewatching, he still just doesn't get into it. I'll admit the first time I watched it with him I wasn't huge on it either, but I've rewatched it many times and it's one of my favorite films now. Edit. Holy shit, this blew up. I'm glad I'm not crazy for not knowing what exactly to make of the movie. If you hated the movie on your first watch, I recommend rewatching because it seems lots of people changed their minds after it. Shape of Water. Honestly might have been a good movie to address the way humans treat creatures, but they fucked it up by having them fall in love. Like what the actual fuck? American Hustle. One of the most boring movies I have ever watched. SpongeBob. Sponge out of water. Fucking 81% RT score with a 54% audience score. If you want a SpongeBob movie, watch the original 2005 movie. Infinitely better. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. In my opinion, I feel Tom Hanks didn't accurately portray Fred Rogers at all. Rogers was in no way as eccentric as the persona portrayed by Hanks in the film, but was his own breed of human. The Rogers character portrayed by Hanks, especially with the portrayal of violence in a scene of the film set during a live broadcast of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, was in no way the real Mr. Rogers. The documentary Won't You Be My Neighbor was a far better insight into the life of Rogers. Crush. I challenge you to write a more pandering movie. But impossible character arcs and junior high-level storytelling is apparently Oscar-worthy if you spend enough money on bankable actors. Edit. Yes. Critics generally like this movie. https://n.m.wikipedia.org/wiki/crush 2004 film. #reception. Shakespeare in Love. Argo. Not because it was necessarily a badly made movie, but because it willfully rewrote real-world history to make America look like the sole heroes. The British and New Zealand embassies did not turn the American embassy workers away. The British embassy took them in, at great risk mind you, but transferred them to the Canadian embassy since they could more easily pass for Canadians, and the British embassy was in a dangerous location already. The New Zealand embassy took similar risks. The actual Americans who were rescued made extensive comments at the time stating displeasure over how the actual situation was depicted, since it was, well, bullshit. And don't get me started on U-571. At least that movie was the box office bomb it deserved to be, since it straight up replaced the British Navy who recovered the Enigma machine with the US Navy. They got so much heat over it that they just lazily shoved a disclaimer at the end saying pretty much, actually it was the British Navy who captured the machine, but oh well, to save face. The bloody US wasn't even in the war when the events depicted happened. There's some sad person out there who's gonna use this as a movie recommendation thread. Shawshank Redemption. Not I'm kidding. That movie is amazing. Bohemian Rhapsody. I love Queen but this movie sucks. Rocketman was fucking amazing. Ralph Breaks the Internet. A disappointing sequel. A Star is Born. I just don't get the hype. Almost no conflict in her rise to stardom and the ending seemed so predictable the closer I came to it that I had a hard time even finishing it. It was just boring. Crush. The Best Picture Oscar winner, for those asking. Black Panther. The Lion King remake. The G is absolutely gorgeous. I can't deny that. But going to hyper-realistic lions made the movie lose all of the charm the original had. There's a complete disconnect between the emotions the voice actors were going for and what the lions were showing due to the fact that real cats/lions don't have a wide range of facial expressions to portray human emotions with. Other changes were meh, Some were good, like fixing some plot holes, but for the most part the changes were bad. Removal of songs, toned down the magic, bands butchering music. Waterworld, 1995. Oh wait, other way around. The Greatest Showman, like it's about a awful person but they make him seem like a good guy, plus the script and songs and everything about it was just mediocre, so when I watched it after all the praise it got I was just disappointed. Happy Feet. What in the actual F? I genuinely think that the movie Gravity with Sandra Bullock and George Clooney is one of the worst movies that has ever hit the big screen. The Irishman. Same gangster movie with octogenarian actor that we've seen 1,000 times before. But critics seem to eat that stuff up. Ad Astra. Whole movie was a waste of time. Surprised I didn't fall asleep. A Star is Born is so cringy. I can't understand why people raved about it. Just because they had good chemistry. I mean, yeah they did, but that's probably cause they either wanted to or were sleeping with each other. Big whoop. The storyline was absolute garbage. So cheesy, weak and stereotypical. Can't believe two talented stars wasted their time on this and then got rave reviews and awards. Edit. I meant the 2018 film. Also, till there were other movies by the same title. Haha. I feel young all of a sudden. Titanic. I just don't get it. Most of the special effects are amazing. Some shots have too much of that 90s G look. But the actual movie was an extremely generic love story with nothing new. American Sniper Oka. This man murdered civilians but he feels bad about it, so it's okay. US Army good. People mentioning a bunch of popular 2000s and 2010s movies make me worried about my opinion. A Clockwork Orange. I've read the book and watched the movie. I hated both. La La Land. Dunkirk. I really wanted to like it, but I found the movie to be an absolute snooze fest. Gravity is one of the worst movies I have ever seen because of its complete disregard of physics. It spit in Newton's face and shit in his cereal. Bullock was great though. I really didn't understand the love for A Quiet Place. It relied overwhelmingly on cheap jump scares. Ironically, the movie that everyone seemed to hate, Bird Box, was basically what I thought A Quiet Place should have been. Much more dread and horror, with minimal jump scares. For me it's definitely The Last Jedi. It has 90 on Rotten Tomatoes, but I'd say it's one of my least favorite movies of all time. Toy Story 4. It breaks so many rules and is such an insult to the characters. The villain and her minions are really interesting, but lacks the threat of characters like Sid and the evil of Lotso. I guess that could be the point though. Kinda sad they didn't do more with her and her minions. Plus, Ducky and Bunny are more funny than minions. Pitch Perfect. Some of my friends made me watch that monstrosity. It has an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. Titanic. Avatar. Toy Story 4. When it was first announced I thought it was an unnecessary movie. After watching the trailers I still thought it was unnecessary, and after watching the movie I realized I was correct. And this led me to hate the movie because the trilogy had a perfect ending. By the way, How to Train Your Dragon 3 should have won the Oscar in Toy Story place. Sorry about my English if I made any mistakes. It is not my language. Monsters Ball. https://www.rottentomatoes.com/m/monsters ball was horrible but somehow won awards. https://n.wikipedia.org/wiki/monster%27's ball #accolades. I found Avengers Endgame really drawn out and boring. Just didn't hit home like the other movies. Bird Box. Quiet Place is somehow a better movie even though they're almost exactly the same. Tree of Life was pretentious dog shit. Gravity was so full of scientific errors and illogical decisions every 5 minutes I couldn't enjoy it. Oh man, we're running out of oxygen. Anyway, tell me your life story. Ad Astra. The Moon Pirates. The girl from Mars hose. Never been to Earth. The way they managed to make a desperate fall to Earth with a torn parachute boring. Fuck Brad Pitt and his imboard falling from space to Earth with a broken parachute. I wanna know why and how they're moon pirates. Also Drag Me to Hell. Psychological thriller my ass. It's jump scares galore and a woman who cold been rid of her problems. I don't care how much empathy you have for someone with mean parents. He kept screwing you over and you were literally going to be sent to hell. Survival instinct beats empathy. For someone who was actively antagonizing you hours before. Sorry. Frozen. I hate the movie because the story is mess. The characters are boring to me and hate the design of the trolls. Man, Lincoln was so fucking boring. My fav president. So I thought, this will be cool. I was wrong. And Lincoln Vampire Hunter ruled though. I wanted to like it, but Snowpiercer ended up being one of my least favorite movies I've ever seen. Toy Story 4 should have stopped at 3. Avengers Endgame seemed to be loved by both critics and the general public. I thought it was awful, especially compared to Infinity War. I just found the plot to be a bit rubbish, minus especially bringing back a different version of Thanos that didn't have the same effect as the one from Infinity War. Joker. It's meh, at best. Pretty much every single Marvel movie. I simply don't understand how these movies are so popular. The live-action Lion King. Subscribe, like and comment if you hate outros, begging you to subscribe, like and comment.